It's an honor to have everybody here today. It's been 4 years since we got together in person at the summit back in 2019. You know, it's great to see some new faces, some familiar faces. It's just good to see your faces. So appreciate everybody's effort to be here. If you haven't figured it out already, the agenda over the next 2 days is on the back of your name tag. My wife did that. She's pretty spiffy. And just breakfast and lunches right next door where you had breakfast this morning. Today's events, tomorrow's events right here in this room. The reception this evening, 6:30 p.m. out back in the pavilion. And then tomorrow night's reception, 6 p.m. across the lobby in the gallery ballroom. So it's pretty centrally located. If you have any questions, don't feel free to ask. These events don't happen by themselves. You know, it's not just my effort. It's not, oh, and by the way, by the grace of God, Mike Schellinger is here with us. Where is he? Right here. Mike had a really bad health scare about a month ago, and I didn't think we would see him here today, so it's great to have one of the goats of MicroCap with us in person. But I want to thank Mike, I want to thank my wife, I want to thank Sean Iddings, I want to thank Neil Cataldi, Michael Liu, all of those of you that have helped out in big ways and small ways to make this event happen and function over the next 2 days. What's made this event kind of different than other summits that we've done in the past is really, it's probably the most community-centered event we've ever had. I think we have 28 members helping out, between literally helping with the event to bringing a company to present to you. We have 10 members that have brought a company to present to you this afternoon and tomorrow morning. And then we have, I believe we're up to 16 members pitching their favorite idea at the current price tomorrow afternoon. So this really is a community-driven event, and I think it's why it's the best event in MicroCap, and it's my goal to prove that out to you if you don't know it already by the end of the day tomorrow. Before we get started with the speakers this morning, I wanted to kind of give you a little bit of an overview into where MicroCap Club is, where it was, where it is, and where it's going, and also give you a little bit of a teaser into next year's summit. So back in 2019, actually at this event in 2019, we had about 25 to 30% of the attendees fly in from overseas, so outside of the US and Canada, which was pretty incredible given that it's 130, 140 people that are here. And what we're seeing since 2019 is just a continued more global nature of the community, and it's driven by the companies that are profiled on our forum. So the pie chart on the left is really the companies profiled year to date on our forum. I think we've had 104 companies profiled year to date through the end of August. And you can see the geographical breakdown. About half are from the US, 24% from Europe, 10% from Canada, and you can see the rest here. But if we were to look at this pie chart maybe 5 years ago, I think it would be about 80% US. And so we're starting to see just getting more and more global over the years that go by, which is great to see. Same with our community. About 42% of you are from the US, 18% Europe, 15% Canada. We're just getting more and more global as the years go by, which I think is important in really attacking our mission, which I'll be getting into here in a little bit. The two things that I think MicroCap Club does better than pretty much anybody in the world is I think nobody turns over the rocks in global microcap better than we do. And as I mentioned before, 104 companies profiled year to date through the end of August is an incredible number. And right here's the numbers from previous years going back to 2016. The other thing that I think that we don't really mention too often on MicroCap Club, but I think one of the big assets is we really facilitate you building out your network of investors. And I think when you start as a stock picker, your edge goes from being strictly analytical or informational to one that is relational over time. As you build out your network of investors, as you build out relationships with management teams and CEOs, as you build out your network of industry experts, that network becomes your advantage, because the ultimate advantage of any stock picker is getting to the truth quicker than somebody else. And that's why Warren Buffett is as good as he is, and he's like the Mount Everest of network, where he can get information probably faster than anybody on the economy, on business, or on anything. This is our slogan, if you want to call it that, on MicroCap Club. All great companies started as small companies, and we find them, and we do. So since 2011, our members have profiled around 1,000 companies since 2011. 165 of those companies have been acquired since they've been profiled. 220 of those companies have been multi-baggers since they were profiled. And those 220, it's not some random high tick that company hit 3 years ago that's now below the profile price. That's legitimate 220, where they were profiled to where they closed the end of August. And I think that's a number that I'm proud of because, when you think about the club inception date of 2011, so it's about 12 years, 12 months in a year, 144 months, 220 multi-baggers. That means that we profiled around 1.3, 1.4 multi-baggers per month since the club's inception in 2011, which I think is pretty cool. And I think we're up to around 50 or 60 companies that have been profiled that are up 500% or more. No one turns over the rocks like we do. This is an image that I think about when I think about our members. And this is from the movie Troy, which, by the way, was back in 2004. Man, it makes me feel old. And no, I don't think I'm Brad Pitt in this photo. And no, I don't think you're a bunch of smelly myrmidons. Although the male-female ratio is probably pretty accurate, which we're trying to change over time. But this is how I view our membership. I mean, nobody turns over the rocks like we do. No one finds winners like our membership does. I think for those of you that have been part of the community for, let's say, more than 9 months or so, have felt a real shift, a real sense of urgency in what we're doing. And I think a lot of that is because of all the new features that we've added since the beginning of this year. And I just thought I'd go through some of the bigger ones right now. The monthly community Zooms, this is an effort that Michael Liu has spearheaded. It's sort of a no-brainer. We bring in the members that have profiled the new ideas from the previous month. They have them pitch them in a presentation to the people that participate on that Zoom. And then we break out into networking sessions. And so it was just a no-brainer thing, and we're going to continue to do that. And he's doing a great job leading that effort. The next thing is the business breakdowns. And I think that this itself is one of the biggest flywheels of quality that we can produce in the MicroCap ecosystem. And MicroCap Club's in an interesting position to where we probably have the investor that knows almost any company in MicroCap the best on our forum. And the ability to bring on an investor that knows that business best with the CEO, have a conversation, have them lead that conversation, drill down into that business, just really produces a high quality type of interview that really hasn't been done. And the ability for their community then to participate live in that conversation. Then the ability to put that out publicly 2 to 4 weeks later. And it's really the ability to showcase the best of what MicroCap has to offer to the public. It becomes sort of a magnet for people that want to come into the MicroCap space and also to MicroCap Club. And that's why it's important that we continue to do those. The member spotlights. Sean Iddings has been leading this effort. It was his idea, and he's done an incredible job. I mean, really just doing 20-minute kind of informal interviews of who our members are. The one thing that makes MicroCap different than pretty much any other kind of area in investing, including even mid-cap, large-cap, including even like Value Investors Club, which I love what they're doing, but like each one of your backgrounds is so unique. Like not everybody went to the same Ivy League school, had the same Goldman Sachs internship, had the same career trajectory. Each one of you is different. We have small business owners, we have doctors, we have people that didn't even go to college, we have everybody in between. And I think that's what makes MicroCap so unique, because even when it comes to due diligence, collaborating on our forum, usually somebody knows something about something, because of their background. I think that's what makes MicroCap unique. And just the ability to do these member spotlights, be able to showcase our members publicly, and also so you all know who each other are and know each other's strategies, I think is important. And Sean Ains has done an incredible job with that. Special Situations Forum, we have some of the best special situations investors on the planet on the club. It was a no-brainer to finally launch a forum that's dedicated to those situations. Thesis summaries, I think this is probably the biggest thing that we've done, at least I think so, since the beginning of the year. We have 10 to 20 new ideas being profiled on our forum every single month. 10 to 20 new ideas, it's a lot of ideas. Historically, some of you log into the forum every day, some every week, some every month. Every month I do a monthly update that lists all the new profiles of all the new ideas. Historically, it would just be a link to the thesis, which is 5 to 10 pages. I think it's kind of stupid of me to think that people have that much time, if they're just reading a monthly update to read 20 theses that are 10 pages long in one sitting. That's just not digestible. And so what we've done is we've gone through and just done summary thesis of every single company that's profiled. It makes it much more digestible. Every month you can kind of read the paragraph, say yes or no. I want to double click down into that one. I want to see the discussion. I think it's been a really game changer for the community, and it takes a lot of effort, so I hope you appreciate it. But I think that's been the biggest thing that we've done this year, quite honestly. Reprofiling of ideas. We have 1,000 companies profiled in the forum. Just because an idea was profiled with a thesis 3 years, 5 years, 10 years ago doesn't mean that thesis hasn't changed. In fact, probably a 90% certainty that thesis has changed. And so the ability to have members reprofile existing ideas and get credit in their member ranking was also a big new addition this summer. This new summit format, I've already talked about it, the most community-centered one we've ever had, and I think it's going to be an incredible one. And we have more features coming later this year. It doesn't happen without a team effort. It's not just me, it's not just Mike Schellinger, but we added Sean Iddings in the summertime, and I think his presence has been felt across the board. I mean, he's kind of our chief community officer. And anybody that's new that enters the community, they see him, he takes them by the hand, shows them how to get the most out of the forum, and he's just been a huge new addition. I think we posted a job application about 3 weeks ago for a writer, a journalist, for a project that we want to start here imminently, and I could see adding another person probably in the next 12 months as well. So we're building out the team. And really the goal of building out the team is to supercharge this flywheel. This flywheel of highlighting our quality investors. We have some of the best stock pickers on the planet on our forum. I want to highlight quality companies, and we want to produce quality education. This becomes a magnet. This is the magnet to bring people into the microcap space and also to MicroCap Club. But it's also the only way that we're going to change this perception. And it's funny to laugh at these images, I know I have. But specifically here in the US, this is how 99% of people view microcap investing. It's the sleazy, slimy underbelly of the public company ecosystem. And it really is a US problem. And I don't know why it's just in the US, because other places in the world, they don't have this type of perception. But it's really taking its toll. As an example, I can't even ACAT transfer into my account at Interactive Brokers a US microcap equity. I can transfer in a foreign microcap, not a US microcap equity. You go into Interactive Brokers, big red letters, restrictions on US microcap equities. Have you ever tried to deposit a US microcap stock certificate in a brokerage account? Good luck. You can't do it. And that has ramifications. It increases the cost of capital. It makes it harder for companies to raise capital. And quite honestly, as an American, I find it embarrassing that it's easier to raise capital as a small public company in Canada or Australia than it is here with countries that have populations 10% of our size. I mean, it's embarrassing. We need to change this perception because these are the images, these are the companies, these are the logos people should be thinking about when they think about microcap investing. They shouldn't be thinking about this, they should be thinking about this. I've done, feels like 1,000 different interviews and podcasts over the years. And what I find, and the reason I do these podcasts and these interviews, is really to change this misperception, specifically in the United States, about microcap investing. And I have the pitch down, and I really just go through these 4 facts, if you hear me on any podcast. Most of the best investors ever started in microcap. Most of the best performing stocks ever were microcaps. 87% of public companies globally that 10x or more over the last 10 years originate out of the microcap arena. And the last one's the explanation point. Microcap is the only investment class where the smaller investor has the advantage. When microcap is pitched this way with the facts, everyone understands it. I don't think I've ever had anybody that said, well, that's a dumb idea. I don't want to do that. In fact, what I find is, well, first of all, we're the orange dot. But what I find is when it's pitched this way, pretty much everybody wants to be a microcap investor. They just don't know it yet. And that's really my goal, because I think the way we change the perception of microcap is to pull quality into it in all forms. The way we do things as a club. And quite honestly, this is kind of a personal mission of mine, and it's a sense of urgency that I have. I want to change this perception problem that we have, because I think it's about time. I view microcap kind of like this meme image that I posted. Everyone loves venture capital and private equity. It's great to talk about it at cocktail parties. No one likes to talk about microcap, but I think that's going to change over the next 5 years, and that's a goal of mine.